This is genuinely the only video you need to pass your driving test. The outcome comes down to a handful of things. Let's start with the biggest. 47%. That's how many UK collisions in 2023 had ineffective observation as a factor, which tells you this isn't just a test statistic, it's a road safety one. And it's exactly why the DVSA's own data puts failing to observe properly at junctions at the very top of the fail list, a spot it's held for years, with mirrors close behind in second. Fly across to the US, over to Australia, or up into Canada, and the story repeats under a different name. Missed blind spot checks, missed head checks, different words, the same mistake, every single time. Quick correction, because a lot of driving content gets this wrong, steering control isn't the third most common fail reason. Whatever you've heard, it actually sits at 6th. Junctions and mirrors have owned the top 2 spots for years, and that gap between them and everything else matters more than people realize. Your eyes can look directly at something and still fail to register it. Here's something that trips up a lot of people, especially anyone who learned from an older sibling or a parent who tested years back, because the test itself changed recently. Since the 24th of November 2025, the UK test only asks you to pull over 3 times instead of 4. And the emergency stop now shows up in roughly 1 in 7 tests, down from 1 in 3. That's a real change, not a rumor. And if someone tells you to expect 4 stops, they're working off old information. Here's one almost nobody knows until it happens to them. Your test can actually end before you've even touched the steering wheel.
Can you read that number plate for me, please?
Is that a 3 or an 8?
I'm sorry, that's not correct. We won't be able to continue today.
That's a genuine part of the test, an eyesight check. Reading a number plate from 20 meters away before the car even moves. Get it wrong, and the test ends on the spot. Easy to prepare for, brutal if you don't. Now for the part that's actually going to make you less nervous about all of this. You're allowed to make real mistakes, more than most people realize. 15 minor faults, that's the ceiling in the UK. Rack up that many, and you can still walk away with a pass, provided you avoid one serious or dangerous fault along the way. California runs almost the identical system. 15 errors before real trouble starts. Victoria in Australia allows just 1 critical error in the first stage and 2 across the whole test, while Ontario publishes no fixed number at all, though examiners work the same way there too. Small errors accumulate. 1 dangerous one ends everything instantly. 90%, that's the share of Victorian applicants who passed on their first attempt in a recent year, up from just 75% a couple of years earlier, even though roughly 118,000 people took the test, and around 17,000 didn't get their license. Ontario runs closer to 50 to 60% passing the G2 test. And here's the part worth remembering if failing has you stressed. A failed road test never goes on your driving record and never touches your insurance. Anywhere. Here's the catch. That number resets to 0 the instant you do something genuinely dangerous. 14 small mistakes and you're still fine. 1 big one and it's over, no matter how clean the rest of your drive was.
Okay, that's the end of the test.
Did I pass?
7 minor faults, nothing serious. Congratulations, you've passed.
Told you 14 was the number to fear, not 7. That's genuinely the whole test in one sentence. Small mistakes are survivable, one dangerous one absolutely isn't. There's a real way to shift the odds in your favor before you even walk in. The DVSA's own figures say learners who combine lessons with private practice are around 50% more likely to pass first time, and their benchmark sits at 45 hours of professional lessons plus 22 hours of practice with someone else. If you don't pass first time, you're in good company. The average UK learner takes just under 2 attempts to get there. Let's talk about a mistake that's basically guaranteed to end your test, in every country I've mentioned so far.
Stop sign coming up. Slow down. Good enough.
That wasn't a stop. That was a slowdown in hope. Rolling stops are a classic instant fail across the US, Canada, and Australia. A Melbourne instructor with 40 years behind him put it best. A rolling stop, in his words, is the same as not stopping at all. Full stop means the wheels are completely still, not just slow. Let's circle back to that observation mistake, because there's a detail here that could genuinely save your test.
Mirrors checked, signal on, moving off.
Stop. Look again. To your right, right now.
Oh, there's a cyclist. I didn't even see him.
That cyclist was there the entire time. The check isn't there to tick a box. It exists because that's exactly what it catches. Here's the part that actually changes depending on where you live. In the UK, missing one blind spot check is usually just a minor fault. But cross into parts of the US or up into Ontario, Canada, and that exact same missed check on a lane change can end your test right there. Same mistake, wildly different consequence. Here's a genuinely strange contradiction between countries. UK examiners are trained specifically not to want exaggerated mirror checks. They can already see you looking properly. Yet plenty of US and Canadian instructors tell their students to exaggerate their head checks on purpose, so the examiner physically catches the movement. Same test, same skill, completely opposite advice, depending purely on which country you're standing in.
Can you demonstrate how you'd clear the rear windscreen for me, please?
Sure. It's, that's the wipers. Sorry. 1 second.
Relax. Grabbing the wrong stock once isn't going to fail you. Genuinely, that's a minor at worst, and it only turns serious if you do something dangerous while you're figuring it out. Everybody fumbles a control at least once. Now let's kill a myth that makes people way more nervous than they need to be.
What if he's just trying to fail me? What if there's like a quota?
There isn't. He's not hunting for reasons to fail you. He's checking one thing. Can you drive safely on your own?
Whenever you're ready, pull away, please.
Examiners genuinely do not have fail quotas. And that's not opinion, it's the official position. Right now, if anything, they're under more pressure to pass people than to fail them. There's one more mistake worth mentioning, and it's the opposite of everything else on this list, because it happens when you're trying too hard to be safe.
It's clear, but what if it's not? Just wait a bit longer.
Whenever you're ready.
Driving too slowly or hesitating at a junction that's genuinely clear is a real fault in every country covered here. And US driving educators report it's actually more common to fail for going too slow than too fast. Nervous doesn't equal safe. Feeling nervous isn't a sign you're not ready. It's a sign you actually care about the outcome. Don't dwell on your mistakes. If something goes wrong, note it and move on, because fixating on it is usually what causes the next one. If your sat-nav sends you the wrong way, or you take a wrong turn entirely, that's not a fault at all. Your examiner simply redirects you and you carry on. It only turns into a real problem if you panic and do something unsafe in response. Here's everything that actually decides whether you pass. Observation is what genuinely fails people everywhere. Small mistakes won't sink you, only a truly dangerous one will. And rolling through a stop sign or hesitating too long can end your test just as fast as anything else. Nerves are completely normal. Getting lost certainly isn't the end of the world, and that's the real, complete picture. Nothing more complicated than that. Subscribe if this helped, because there's a lot more where this came from. And good luck out there. You've got this.